My top 10 bus safety tips.
Hi everybody, it's Mena. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the very first video that you're seeing of me, then welcome to my channel. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you didn't already. I post every day except for Tuesday and Friday afternoon sometimes. And today in this video, I'm going to go over my top 10 bus safety tips. So these are safety tips for taking the public bus. I've been taking the public bus since I was 19 years old. And these are tips that I've come up with over the years of how to be safe while taking the public bus. And this is a video just to teach how to be safe. Like, don't talk to strangers. Do not bother other people with kids on the bus, and also to how to ignore people who are kind of a little awkward on the bus. So this is a video just to teach how to be safe while taking the public bus and be aware of your surroundings while you're taking the public bus. So I'm going to get started, and I hope you guys like the video.
Number 1.
Number 1 on my list would have to be sit on the seats of the public bus. So this is super important. You don't really want to stand. I mean, sometimes there's no seats available, but they always have handles that you can hang on to. But it is super important to sit on the seats on the public bus, especially if you have a kid that likes to stand up. It's just super important because you don't want to fall off the chairs and you don't want to fall and hit your head. It's just not a safe thing. So if you need a place to sit, you should always sit on the seats and of the bus. Do not stand. I mean, it's okay to stand because they have handles just in case you can't find a seat to sit in, but it's just mostly important to sit in a seat so then you're safe.
Number 2.
Number 2 on my list would have to be, Number 2 on my list would have to be, do not run while the bus is moving. This is super important. You don't want to run because buses get very wobbly when they drive. And when the bus wobbles and drives, you can slip and fall. You can hit your head. It's just not safe to run on a moving bus. So it's okay to walk slowly on a moving bus, just don't run.
Number 3.
Number 3 on my list had to be aware of whom you sit next to on the bus. This is super important because the bus is full of so many different people. You may get some really nice strangers, or you may get those really weird, awkward people that you don't know and they start trying to talk to you. So you should be really aware of what people look like on the bus or how people act on the bus. This is just super important because if a person is making you uncomfortable on the bus, just move to a different seat and stuff, but always just be aware of where you're sitting. And I have a full story about how I made the dumbest decision when I first took the bus and how I accidentally made a decision to sit next to 2 really strange people on the bus. And I'll link that down below if you didn't see, but that was just only because it was my first time taking the bus and I didn't know how to be aware of my surroundings.
Number 4.
Number 4 on my list would have to be if someone is yelling on the bus for no reason, do not give them eye contact. This is super important because you don't want them yelling at you or making you uncomfortable, or if they'll just be overreacting and stuff and think you're doing something wrong. So it's just super important never to give anybody eye contact when they're on the bus who is yelling, because you don't want them yelling at you or saying really rude, harsh, uncomfortable things to you. And you don't know what these people go through and stuff. So just if someone is just yelling, just completely ignore them. Or usually the bus driver will kick them off if they're being too noisy and yelling. So I do have a full story about how I was on the bus one time and this lady was yelling, and I'll link the story down below if you didn't see. And luckily none of us gave her eye contact and we ignored her the whole time. And luckily the bus driver kicked her off because she wouldn't stop yelling or being so weird or making anybody uncomfortable on the bus.
Number 5.
Number 5 on my list would have to be if you're riding on a scooter in the wheelchair area, do not lean on it. So this is super important because when you're leaning over, you could cause your scooter to fall over because the weight of your body can cause gravity to increase. And it's just never a good thing, especially when the bus is moving, because you can fall over and hit your head. And I have a full story about how I saw this person on a scooter one time, and even though he was strapped tightly for his scooter was strapped tightly, he kept accidentally leaning his knees to the opposite side of the wall, and he kept falling over, which was really scary, but luckily the bus driver made him aware of it. And I do have a full story about this, which I'll link down below if you didn't see as well.
Number 6.
Number 2, my list would, not number 2, sorry. Number 5 on my list would have to, number 6 on my list would have to be don't fall asleep. I'm sorry, I just got distracted by the sound of some background noise. It sounded like a police siren or something. I don't know where it was going, or somebody's car alarm was going off. Excuse me.
Number 6.
Sorry about that. So anyway, so it's number 6 on my list would have to be don't fall asleep on the bus. So this is super important because you don't want to fall asleep on the bus because 1, you don't want to miss your stop, and 2, if you fall asleep on the bus, you probably could lean your head over and hit your head somewhere. This is just super important because you just need to be safe when you're falling asleep. You should do your best to try not to fall asleep on the bus because you don't want to take up the whole sleep on the bus because it may be difficult to wake you up if you're a heavy sleeper, and also you may fall and hit your head while falling asleep on the bus. And it's not like your car where you could sleep on like the windows and stuff. So never fall asleep on the public bus because you'll miss your stop or you could hit your head somewhere. And I have a story about how 2 separate people fell asleep on the bus, and if you didn't see the story, I'll link them down below if you didn't see.
Number 7.
Number 7 on my list would have to be don't touch or stick your face in other people's kids on the bus. This is super important because there are a lot of parents that are overprotective of their children, and they don't like when people they don't know touch their kids or stick their faces in other people's kids. It's just super important because you just need to be very careful with kids on the bus. And I understand sometimes kids are so cute that you can't resist them, but you also have to remember that there are a lot of parents who are just really protective of their children, especially when they're on a public bus. And I have a full story about how my friend accidentally let a baby grab her finger on the bus, which I'll also link down below if you didn't see.
Number 8.
Number 8 on my list would have to be make sure you have all your stuff with you before getting off the bus. This is super important because you don't want to leave anything important behind, like your wallet, your phone, or anything. Like, it's just super important because sometimes if you leave things on the bus, you might not be able to get it back or anything unless you go to the bus lost and found or the local place. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but they do have a place for lost and found things if something ever gets left on the bus. And it's just important to make sure you have everything you need with you on the bus. So anytime I go on a bus trip, I always make sure I have all my stuff with me, like my phone, my wallet, and all my important stuff that I don't want to lose on the bus or any public transportation. And I have a story about how a couple people have left things on the bus. Like one time I found a wallet on the bus that had nothing in it. And then also I found a lunchbox on the bus that I took home with me because I knew it belonged to. And I'll link those stories down below if you didn't see.
Number 9.
Number 9 on my list would have to be don't yell at other people on the bus. This is super important because you can make other people very uncomfortable, and not everybody likes to be yelled at by some random stranger, and it's just super uncomfortable. Well, especially if there's like a random person on the bus who's yelling at other people, and it's just not okay because like you can just scare other people that way. And I have, like I said, I have a full story about how I was on the bus one time and this lady was yelling on the bus and she got kicked off for yelling and being so loud, which I'll link down below if you didn't see.
Number 10.
Number 10 on my list would have to be don't pet other people's dogs on the bus. This is really important because there are a lot of people who come on the public bus with service dogs. And if you see someone on the bus with a service dog, don't pet it just because those are working dogs. They're not for petting at all. Those are the only kind of dogs that are allowed on a public bus. If it's a pet dog, you're not allowed to bring a pet dog on the bus or any kind of animal unless it's a special needs dog, like if it's used for a certain reason or if it's used for like helping people. So those are the only type of dogs on the bus. So if you see a service dog on the bus, don't pet it because you don't want to pet someone else's service dog because those are for working. Okay, so those are my top 10 bus safety tips. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope you learned how to be safe on the public bus. Thank you, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!